The Bureau of Economic Geology is the oldest research institution within the University of Texas at Austin. It's also the second largest institution. We have been around since 1909, and we're part of the Jackson School of Geosciences. Within that context, you can think of the Bureau as a research unit that really works in the intersection between energy, the environment, and economics. As the State Geological Survey of Texas, the Bureau has a responsibility, I think, to the state to provide a broader vision of what resources we have in the state and that are important. So within that context, we have something that is called the Texas Imperative.
I think one of the really fascinating and exciting opportunities that we have going on here at the Bureau right now is a series of research programs that we've initiated that we've been kind of calling the Texas Imperative. And we've been calling those projects the Texas Imperative because that's really what they're about. They're about really fulfilling our role as the State Geological Survey to the best of our abilities. And they're really, in that sense, again, focused on Texas issues, Texas resources, and the sort of Texas policy and how we can kind of connect our understanding of our natural resources and our policy programs and things like that. On the water side in particular, the project that we're working on, why is groundwater particularly important? Well, the surface water resources of the state, by and large, they're fairly well tapped out. For most of the state, surface water is fairly allocated or even over-allocated. So as the state continues to grow, right, and we have more people that move here and more industry that moves here, we need more and more water. The first place that's happening right now where that water is coming from to satisfy that need is groundwater, right? So it's really critical that we have a really good understanding of our groundwater resources and how they're going to change over time. And so for our project, we're really interested in, okay, if we have all of this data that describes how water is moving right through the land and the air and the ground, okay, well then what can that tell us about how our water resources respond to things like drought or flood, right? But we have to have that foundation first, and then we can build on that to start answering some of the really key questions in the state.
The Bureau of Economic Geology has taken on a project looking at hydrogen and helium potential across the state of Texas, and this feeds into another project that we have that's looking at hydrogen resources across the world. And so in its role as a state geological survey, the Bureau is trying to assess locations that may have been overlooked for both helium and hydrogen, and then also take advantage of some of the new sciences that we're looking at that will help us understand some areas that could be used for hydrogen production in the subsurface. And so the majority of our research is applied. You know, we're trying to come up with solutions for energy resources, and I kind of prefer that in my style of research. It kind of gives you a target that you're going for. It's not just research for the sake of research, it's research to better enhance energy production throughout the world.
The Bureau has had a long history in oil and gas research, and that has changed over the years. Many aspects are still similar, basic geology, including looking at field analogs to subsurface. What has really evolved is the amount of technology being applied in terms of looking at core samples on the SEM, different types of analyses that can be done both in terms of looking at porosity and types of porosity, or hydrocarbon fluids and their chemistry and their sources. A lot of this has gotten more and more evolved over the years and a lot more detailed. Part of the Bureau's role is to help producers inside the state understand petroleum systems better and do a better job of finding and producing these. Part of this is the STAR program, which is funded by the state. And what the STAR program focuses on is helping small producers either evaluate individual fields or do regional geologic work that allows them to do a better job of finding and producing hydrocarbons.
Mapping is an essential component to trying to figure out where those mineral systems are that we want to extract out of the ground. So the Bureau is contributing to basically the foundational knowledge for critical mineral assessments. You know, we're on a number of different federal grants and state grants that provide funds for us to go out and do an inventory of where those critical minerals are. When we go out and map them, I mean, we work with industry to be able to figure out how we can get them out of the ground, how we can turn them into products, you know, of everyday use. You know, so the Bureau, in a sense, has that responsibility to make that happen as a geological survey in Texas. So geologic mapping will play a critical role in future developments for both energy and in the mineral space as well as in the environmental space. At its core, we have to have maps to be able to figure out where things are. We use maps for everything. You know, we use subsurface maps, and it's kind of expanded into three-dimensional maps, and you can use maps to basically convey all kinds of information. So it's, at its core, it's one of the foundational aspects or foundational skills that we provide to the public and to the scientific community.
The vision for the future is to keep engaging on this kind of applied research that is relevant for the key questions that society needs to answer when it comes to the importance of geoscience and subsurface resources.